Salute Knicks streets. What did we witness in this one as the Knicks collapse and lose game 2 of the first round series? Atlanta took it in a smash and grab, but the New York Knicks, man, will be reeling after this one, man. We're all left extremely frustrated, angry, searching for answers right now. So let's break it down. Welcome in to the recap with CT. Replay squad salute. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Hit that thumbs up as the New York Knicks, man, lost another one that they should not, right? Reminiscent of last season, right? This one was unbelievable, right? I could not believe what I was seeing. Mike Brown, right? I thought he had a timeout, but he didn't. But that is beside the point, man. That is on the broadcast for that folly, right? That left me more frustrated. But the Knicks did not lose this game, man, in the final possession, right? Yes, they could have got a better look with Mikal Bridges, what looked like he had a pathway to the rack. But we all know, man, he ducked the contact in that one and decided to pull up for the mid-range. But here's another missed possession late, man. The Knicks had a chance to go ahead. You see Mike Brown extremely animated, trying to get Cat up to set the pick, right? Long story short, man, the Hawks out executed the New York Knicks in the fourth quarter. The New York Knicks were the best fourth quarter team, man, heading in, and they completely went stiff and collapsed. But the Hawks did their homework, fam. Obviously, Kaminga had a huge impact in this one. They benched Dyson Daniels down the stretch, and we're going to talk about that right as we go. But at the end of the day, man, Mike Brown lost this ball game. Second quarter, fourth quarter, terrible lineups that had not had experience playing together, prolonged stretches without JB, without Cat. Man, I could not believe what I was seeing, and it let Atlanta hang around when they should not have. Man, the Knicks had their foot on the throats. Man, long story short, this thing could now go 6-7. Look, game 3 is obviously critical. I expect the Knicks to be angry, bounce back. If you're a player, man, you've got to have a short memory with these things. As fans, we can break it down and stew on it. But these guys, I think they'll put it in the trash and move on. But you got to learn a lot of lessons from this one, man. I don't think Mike Brown is, well, he might be, but I don't think he's as stupid, right? And he's going to do the same thing in game 3. But there's some other things I want to break down, man. And obviously, we know the major flaws of this roster in terms of when defenses tighten up, you see Hart out there, and that does allow the other team to put the wing on Cat, right? At some point in this playoff run, man, heaven forbid it continue for a long stretch, right? If this thing continues, I think we will see a situation where Mike Brown will have to make a tough decision with Josh Hart, right? I think down the stretch, the Knicks' fourth quarter offense stagnated, and a lot of that is on Brunson, no doubt about it, right? But guys, I'm not here to lump all of the blame on Brunson because of a couple of reasons, right? At the end of the day, right, I saw OG, I don't know if he's limited with the ankle. You saw OG try to take his man off the dribble, man. He got swallowed up late in this ball game. That was embarrassing from OG. We all know Mikal Bridges ain't a shot creator when the defense is tightening up. And I love his hustle and energy, and he had a good game overall. But just the fundamental flaw of this ball game with Hart out there, it makes it easier for the defense, right? It neutralizes the strength of Cat and Brunson, and it doesn't give them the spacing having Hart out there. I think, right? You see, no one's even guarding Hart in that situation, right? And it allows them to put wings on Cat, right? So I think even if we get past this series, I think at some point, right, the old ugly wrinkles might come back with this situation. We've seen it before in the past when things tighten up down the stretch with Hart out there, right? The thing is, right, Bridges ain't, like I said, ain't going to create a shot. Hart, when he gets the ball, man, his number one tendency is to look to give it up. We need Hart pseudo-aggressive if he's going to be out there, fam. Could he have dribbled it coast to coast with 5 seconds remaining? He probably could have. He did the unselfish thing, man. I think it was ultimately on Bridges, who, was in the bonus and should have been looking for contact. But I'm not even surprised, fam. Another critical stretch in this ball game where Bridges had consecutive open looks, bricked it. Knicks got the offensive rebound, and Bridges bricked it again. And that was where the Knicks could have extended it back above double digits, man. Too many times the Knicks gave up, an opportunity to push ahead by double digits and above, man. And they were obviously up by over double digits heading into the fourth, right? But you got to give credit to the other team, man. They executed. The Knicks did not, right? It's frustrating because this series is now going to go longer. That reality is set in. Unless the Knicks just come out and just evaporate this loss and win game 3, game 4, then obviously I think it'll be over in 5. But assuming Atlanta will be able to at least win 1 at home and get the split, and I'm expecting that to happen. And I think this is going to go 6, right? Hopefully no longer than 6. But look, I'm done predicting with this team, right? They're consistently inconsistent. They are a vibes and moments team, right? They can't prosper when something is given to them, man, on a silver platter. And at the end of the day, I think the buck stops with the coach on this one, man. We're going to have a conversation in a minute about the poor bench performance as well, right? But that just highlights that, Tibbs should have got these guys in earlier. I mean, they're fresh off a week's break. They've been playing too many crazy minutes. I mean, at least have Cat or Brunson on the court, man, to just control the ball game. But Deuce McBride crapped the bed. Alvarado gave him a spark, so I credit Mike Brown for making that quick adjustment. But Shamet continues to shoot bricks, shoot blanks out here. Clarkson not effective, man. Will we see Tyler Kolek or Diawara at some point, fam? We possibly could. But at the end of the day, man, it's frustrating because we shouldn't even be having these conversations, man. The Hawks should be a team that the Knicks should control in 5. And they still might, but obviously the job's got a hell of a lot more tough, fam. The Knicks up 12 to start the fourth, and I just could not believe, man, what I was seeing, right? We're going to, bring the reactions in the locker room and all of that. But Brunson and Hart at the podium, man. Brunson takes ownership, says we're a little stagnant. I've been saying I can control what I can control. Poor decision making on my part. So, got to agree, man. Brunson's second to blame. Obviously, Mike Brown first and foremost. But, like I said, the reason I don't think it's the fundamental flaw with Brunson dominating the rock as much, I think it's because the byproduct of having Hart out there down the stretch, right? He's indecisive. It benefits the other team on defense, right? It's the exact same thing to us having Dyson Daniels out there, which allows us to hide Brunson on him. When Hart is out there, it allows them to put Kuminga on Cat, right? And I see a lot of people say, okay, why doesn't Cat just get aggressive? Why doesn't he get the rock? Why doesn't he just get in positions? Well, if it was that simple, we'd see it over and over and over. But that is also on Cat. But what puts us in that position to begin with is having Hart out there. I believe Brunson and Cat are so talented that you give them the proper spacing and the Hawks just got no chance of getting a stop. Having Hart out there down the stretch, it muddies it up. It clogs it up a little bit, to an extent. And I'm not blaming Hart himself because Hart gives you everything he got. He's a great teammate, a hustle, energy guy. But I just think that's a byproduct of, better teams are just going to punish us by able to muddy it up, right? Like I said, short memory, OG Anunoby staying even keel. Says he can't wait for Thursday. Obviously, we've got a 2-day break now heading into game 3. OG says, of course, you want to play right away. But that's just how it goes. Playoffs are. Right, so just use the time. Take care of the body. Watch some film. Prepare, ready for the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, Cat on the bench. We trust any of our guys in this locker room to be in that game at any time. What do I know? What I do know is that the time we're out off the court wasn't when we lost. So, you know what Cat's trying to do there, defend the coach somewhat. Um, there are many ways the Knicks won this game. You can't just really narrow it down to one thing. But obviously, the Knicks had control so many times, and the insistence from Mike Brown to play that awful lineup with no Cat and Brunson out there for such a long period, right? If it was 2 minutes, I get it, and you bring one of them back in, you try to steal a couple minutes of rest and break, then I get it. But man, it was such a long stretch, and he did it again in the second half. And look, ultimately, yeah, he deserves the blame first and foremost. But I'm looking at these players now on the bench, kind of a little side eye, right? So we welcome in the spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, right? Deuce Shamit, I'm still looking at you, but your minutes aren't in question. They're going to continue to get minutes, but can we switch it up moving forward, right? Should Alvarado get some minutes instead of Clarkson, right? It's pick your poison, guys, because if Clarkson ain't gunning and he ain't hitting buckets, then he can hurt you. On the other side, Alvarado gives you that defensive spark and he can change the complexion of a game. But he's absolutely horrible on offense right now. Had a couple good reads as a point guard, setting guys up, but he's no threat either, right? So, enter our man, sophomore TKO, Tyler, the creator, right? I think he was unfairly benched points during this season, man. I like what Tyler gave us in stretches, and I just felt like Mike Brown should have stuck with him. But is it too little too late? Tyler's going to have his moment, I think, in the playoffs, right? Like I said, I'm not sold on Hart in a closing lineup. I've harped on it for a long time, and I will continue to harp on it, just from an X's and O's standpoint, not from a Hart question or an intangibles or an effort or a will or a desire, fam. I can never question that from Josh Hart. But in terms of just, making it easier on teams to soft double Brunson like they did at the end, they trap, blitz, soft double. That ain't happening with another shooter out there. I don't care if he's shooting blanks. If it's Deuce or Shamit out there together with the other starters, I guarantee they're not soft doubling or hard doubling and blitzing Brunson because the other guys are just willing to make plays offensively. Whereas Bridges, Hart, they get it and they're just like, they're looking around. And it's like, hey, this ain't the time for that. This ain't the time for that, right? You got to make the defense pay, right? If they're sagging off you, ladies and gentlemen. I know Hart can get you rebounds. He does other things and coaches love him. Tibbs loves him. But look, at the end of the day, man, you're letting the other team off the hook. You're essentially giving up your advantage. You traded for Cat, you acquired Brunson for their skill sets, right, to dominate and be the difference makers. But if you put another guy that doesn't shoot well or isn't an offensive minded guy or a threat and looks to pass it up first, right, it just makes that a little bit easier for the defense. And look, if you want living proof, look at the Hawks tonight with no Dyson Daniels, right? They look like a completely different team, man. They were cutting us up, right? They were hunting switches, and we were trying to hide Brunson on Dyson in game one, and it worked, and it continued to work. But they take Dyson out of the game. There's no one you can hide Brunson on. Well, if we take Hart out of the game, you get my drift. So let me know, guys, in the comment section, right? We got bigger issues than just Mike Brown. This loss is on him. And look, this thing don't end up in at least a finals run, he'll be toast. Mike Brown will be a one and done, right? But I ain't here to talk about that because this series is 1-1. And it is a situation where the guys could bail Mike Brown out, even if he's making poor decisions. But at the end of the day, he's got to be putting these guys in better positions, right? But Brunson got to give up the ball at certain times, man, when the defense and the offense slows down and the defense is getting too comfortable, right? Look, I credit Nickeil Alexander-Walker had an amazing strip on JB, like he'd been watching film. JB tried the sort of lower the shoulder and the pivot step back, Alexander Walker was ready for it and got the strip as Brunson did the swivel and had the ball a little too low. Um, so yeah, Atlanta watched some film. But look, long story short, I think the Knicks still win this series in probably six, could be seven even. I think there's still a smaller chance in five, but I think at the end of the day, man, the Knicks will learn a hard lesson with this one. You cannot play around with your food. And OG's got to be better. I don't know if the ankle's really bothering him. Um, Macau, Bridges, and Hart, man. It's time to get more aggressive on offense, man. Even if you got to command the ball off JB, or if he gives it up, make a play. Don't just give the ball back to JB. See, that's the thing people ignore about the ones that think that Brunson is the sole reason to blame for slowing the offense down. If you look at the body language, when a guy gets the ball, other than JB and other than Cat, their desire is to kind of look around and give it back up, right? And look, if Brunson's giving you the rock, he's giving it up. Like that's your chance. That's your chance to make something happen. And I just felt like OG was just poor, man. He was poor in this one offensively. Um, like I said, Atlanta, man, credit to them. They made the adjustment. They went to a more offensive-minded five-out look with Jalen Johnson, CJ McCollum, Nikhil Alexander Walker, obviously Okongwu, and Jonathan Kaminga. And obviously they could throw in a little bit of Corey Kispert, which they did. That was another big adjustment. They went Tony Bradley, I thought, who competed. But look at these bench numbers, man, atrocious. 13 minutes of Deuce McBride, 0 of 3. Missed the 3, didn't get to the foul line. Landry didn't get to the foul line, missed his only shot. Clarkson, 3 of 6. You know, he's going to stay aggressive, but he was in the minus. Alvarado as well, 0 of 3, and 0 of 1 from downtown. At least had 3 dimes, right? Gave us a little bit of production in 8 minutes. So, look, if the bench is going to play like that, then Mike Brown is going to have to do a Tibbs with the minutes and just play the starters most of the time. That's just the way it's got to be. The bench, they've been trusted, and Mike Brown, we'll see what he does in the next one, man. I think he'll continue to trust them, but he might just have to have a quicker hook and bring one of Brunson or Cat back in. Does he go Tyler the Creator? Does he go Mo Diawara? I think probably likely if the series goes a little bit south, he'll probably have to try something drastic. But for game 3, I think he'll stick with the same rotation, right? But just just terrible, man, across the board, man. Self-inflicted from the New York Knicks, man. They'll learn a hard lesson in this one, but they've got to have a short memory, man, because Atlanta will be full of confidence, and I think we can snatch that away real quick. You go in there angry. You just won in Atlanta. The Hawks basically hit all their shots. CJ McCollum, you could argue, had his best game that he could possibly play. Now, the scary thing is Jalen Johnson could get going, and the Knicks could get in their own way, like I said. But Mike Brown's got to coach a hell of a lot better in this one. And if it's a soft double, hard double, Brunson got to give the ball up a lot quicker. Cat, we need you back more engaged. Force Brunson to give it up by getting in strong position down in the block. With all of that said, guys, let us know your thoughts, man. Don't want to stew on this for too long, man, because we're all still frustrated, fuming, seething. But at the end of the day, man, we've still got a series to win. Right? It ain't no good dwelling on a game 2 because there's game 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 and 7. The end of the day, you see Detroit struggling. We'll see what happens in game 2 tomorrow between the Magic and the Pistons. That could go 6 or 7 as well. But for Boston, looks like it's business as usual for them. They'll probably win it in a sweep or in 5 max. And the Cleveland Cavaliers now have a commanding 2-0 lead over the Raptors, man, who we should have got. But at the end of the day, right, we never did it the easy way. Let's see what the team does in game 3. Got 2 days to still want it. Hopefully OG's ankle will benefit from a lot more of the rest. But yeah, we want to put this one past us, man, ASAP, right? if we're trending on the theme from last season, man, we're good for losing a game at MSG. It just is the way it is, man. Things tighten up down the stretch, which is why I'm more concerned at the later stages, not quite at this stage yet, but at the later stages with the closing lineups with Josh Hart out there. Like I said, it does just neutralize things for Brunson and Cat. Like, look, Okongwu ain't even trying to guard Josh Hart there. I know he tries to recover late, but yeah, man, we need Deuce and Shamit to start hitting shots, definitely. And we need Cat. We need Cat to be a lot more featured, point blank, right? Mike Brown will be out of town if this is a series that goes 6 or 7. I think even, because it'll be a poor start, and it won't set us up well for a second round series, right? If this has to go 6 or 7, and these other teams like Boston are ending their series in 4 or 5. So look, the Knicks got to get busy, man. They got to snatch Game 3 and take back home court, and I'm predicting they will. I'm still glass half full kind of guy. I think the Knicks, if they just stay out of their own way and do the basics, they should be able to win Game 3 and put all of the pressure back on Atlanta, man, for Game 4, fam, as well. We'll see you on the recap, right, on Friday morning, man, after the Thursday Game 3, and then we'll be live post-game for Game 4, fam, on the weekend. Peace, blessings, everyone, and let's get it on the next one.